Good morning, good day everyone, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are. This is the Gaming Aztec. Welcome to another video. I would like to apologize if last week I was not able to upload a video because I was doing some repair work at the house. So now I have some free time. I am able to upload again. Today we will be talking about many topics, but the main topic we'll be talking about is, like what I said in the thumbnail, is Pocketpair The Next Big Acquisition. I will move that later on the video, but first we will talk about some other topics that I found related to the gaming industry. The first of all here is a tweet from PC Focus saying that PlayStation leadership views the Bungie acquisition as a failed acquisition. Here is some of the screenshots that were being said. I'm writing this on a throwaway. Please use this info to corroborate other sources you may have. Internal perspective at Sony is very negative towards Bungie right now. It is seen as a failed investment and strategies being discussed revolve around more than recouping the losses. Recouping the losses, one internal leader from the US is fighting to take over the ship while many others across the Pacific want much more harsher methods. The former US leader holds a lot of respect from overseas leadership, so it is likely he will get their way. The person's perspective is that many are agglutinative executives of Bungie who are not doing their job and are hindering the organization. Please believe that the workers are scared, but the leadership is unable to overcome this. With this tweet and news thread or whatsoever we have searched, we have seen is not unusual for the Bungie team. Actually, the Bungie company studio is a very talented studio. They made Halo, they made Destiny, a very famous live service game. But the problem is the leadership itself, the CEO, the upper management are very selfish, self-motivated, and have self-interest. They had many issues, like when they were with Microsoft. They had issues when they were with Activision, even though they were not acquired by Activision. They were their publisher. They also had problems. They always put the blame on other people, like they blame Microsoft, they blame Activision. Now they're under Sony, and now Sony themselves is seeing the problem of Activision. I know, not Activision, sorry, Bungie. So it means to say that it's not Microsoft and Activision that is fully at fault. Maybe there are some blame for them, but majority of the blame is directed at Bungie itself, the upper management itself, the board, the CEO, the senior managers there. So now we see this, that Sony is doing things or planning on what to do with Bungie, maybe to sell it again or fire all the people and put their own people in there. We don't know. So let's just hope that they can ride this ship, and that the people at Bungie, especially those who are to blame for the mistakes and the disaster of Bungie, that I'm talking about the senior management, the CEO, and the board. I hope that they will be fired, and that they will reflect. I know that it's hard, it may be harsh from what I am saying, that people are getting fired, but that's what happens in the business world or in the workplace. If you do not do your job well and you're a liability to the company, then you should be reprimanded, punished, or at worst be fired because you're not doing your job well. So that's the first topic I would like to talk about on Sony. The next topic is still on Sony. It's saying here that tweet from Tom Warren saying that Sony is reportedly pausing PSVR2 production to clear excess inventory. Sales of the 550 headset is reportedly slowing down with the lack of games, allowing an inventory to pile up. While this is not surprising, first of all, if you're going to sell hardware, you should have software and games to support it. The problem with Sony today is that they kept on producing hardware that but they don't have any software to support it. They just focus on the third party software, but even though it's third party, it not they that many or most third parties now is not like on the level of Sony where they can put more money for projects and games. If example a big conglomerate like Sony itself is already having trouble developing games for their console or the PC, what about third party developers which don't have the same resources like Sony? Yeah, there are some third party developers that have deep pockets like Sony or maybe deeper pockets, but some of them are not really developing to the VR ecosystem. They are only developing for the usual gaming like consoles, PC, handhelds, the Switch, the Rogue Ally like that, but they are not into developing the games for VR. There are not so many game developers or game studios that are developing for the VR. I don't know about the VR system of Apple and Facebook. Maybe they have their own studios or whatsoever. But even but they have money to support, and even though that's the problem with Sony, they other than the Horizon Walk on the Mountain or the Horizon VR game that they have, what other VR games that Sony has released for the VR2 after that? No. So there's no support. Like their consoles, the PS5, they don't have games until next year, 2024. No, 2025, I'm sorry. Right now, Sony is able to survive because of third-party deals like Stellar Blade coming out, Rise of the Ronin, and some of the games from Xbox which was ported there on PlayStation, which became highly rated, which is also what we will be talking about later in the video about the game of Hi-Fi Rush. So after this, in my opinion, I can say that the PSVR 2 is a failure. Which also that's the problem. Sony they kept on moving to different hardware and they're not giving it priority. They're not giving it any thought. After the PSVR 2, they released the Portal, and now there's plans leaks of the PlayStation 5 Pro coming out. Even though that it's okay to keep producing hardware, but the problem is they kept producing hardware but no software to support it. So what will come at the end? Sony will just keep incurring losses, especially at that price point, $550 for a headset. So it's only a headset, and you just need to add $100 if that is the right price, which is said to be the price for the PS5 Pro, which is saying on the label it is $650. So you'll just add another $100, then you already got yourself a PS5 Pro. Or with the $550, instead of buying a PSVR 2 headset, you can get a regular PS5 and games, since the PlayStation 5 is already at a discounted price. Or you can buy, I think, a PlayStation 5 and a Steam Deck with that, or a handheld. I don't know. That's the thing that I don't get with Sony's strategy. They kept on producing hardware, but they don't have support to support it. I know that the Q or the PlayStation Portal is just a streaming cloud handheld device which streams and plays your PlayStation 5, but it's not really a handheld. I think that's more of an accessory if you ask me. So if I were Sony, in my opinion, they have to stop producing hardware that I think they need to slow down, especially with the things that are happening to their company, the 10 billion losses in market capitalization. Look at this, the additional of PSVR2 production is being halted so that inventories will be cut. Now there's leaks of the PS5 Pro and many things. I think Sony should just slow down, have a good look at their company, and do it step by step, slowly. Because I think if Sony will continue at this pace, keeps on producing hardware with no software, I think one of these days Sony PlayStation or maybe Sony itself may be bankrupt in the future. So I just hope that they will slow down for a while. The next topic we'll be talking about is about the PS5 Pro, saying that rumored specs of the PlayStation 5 Pro. It says it's a revised also detachable disk drive. Wait, excuse me. I think this is not it. Oh, here. Seeing this is an article by The Verge saying that the PlayStation 5 Pro is up to 3 times faster, maybe arriving this year 2024. Working on a PS5 Pro, it's saying that the PS5 Pro has 67 teraflops, 16-bit floating point computations, calculations. I'm sorry. Again, this is just based on leak information which was passed down in the internet. So if the actual specs of the PS5 Pro is different, so think with this in the kernel solve, maybe it's not accurate or maybe there's changes to the specs that we listed here, which works up to around 33.5 teraflops on a single precision compute that reportedly works out to a 45% rendering performance improvement over the PlayStation 5. The existing PS5 has 10.28 teraflops console, but compared to teraflops directly to this console is complicated due to the changes in AMD's RDNA architecture. While it sounds like tripling the teraflops will be a significant performance increase on the GPU side, comparing the base PS5 and PS5 Pro will be closer to 10.28 teraflops, around 17 teraflops. So again, this, if you want to read this article is in The Verge. I will try to put a link on the description down below. So first of all, if people who have not yet bought a PS5, I think this is your best chance to buy a PS5 this coming holiday. You wait for the PS5 Pro if you have the means to buy it. If the price is right around 650. But if it is too much for your budget, you can still buy the regular PS5, or you can just buy a PC, or if you want, if you just try an Xbox, it's up to you. But for me, based on this information given, I think this not have much difference in terms of the specs, the 10 teraflops and 17 teraflops, because the problem is the regular PS5 and the Xbox Series, it's already 3 to 4 years in its life cycle, but developers still has not yet fully maximized the specs of both consoles. So what is the use of having a Pro version if developers have not maximized or use the full specs of the original iterations of the PS5 and the Xbox Series? Then what's the use of the Pro version if it will be still the same? Like, it's still the same. They cannot maximize it. So I think it's better for people to just buy the regular PlayStation or Xbox Series, or just move to a PC. Since $650, then you just add few $100 if you can, then you have also a high-end PC. I think here the problem is Sony is trying to get more profit by trying to release a Pro version to make its stock look appealing, and so that the stock value will go up again. and they're using their brand recognition as PlayStation, as Sony, to get in more profit. Since if you remember, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, Jim Ryan said that they are more profitable when they already sold the PS5. They are profitable for every console they sold. So I think that's what they're doing this time around by trying to sell us the Pro version so that they can have more profit, since we know that Sony is not really profitable when it comes to their software or game sales. So now that they're trying to push more hardware on us, the consumers, so that they can have more profits on them, which is that's their own strategy as a business. They can do whatever they want, but as if I were the people who plan to buy a PlayStation, I just hope that you will think about your purchase, since even now, as of this day, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series consoles are not yet being maximized by the developers of the different studios, whether they're first party, second party, or third party studios. So what's the use of buying a Pro version if we know that developers cannot maximize the current hardware they are developing? Maybe you just want it to want the Pro for FOMO, or to have the latest and greatest. I don't know, but for me, if it's just a 7 teraflops difference, or almost 7 teraflops, I think there's no big difference. It's only teraflops, and you cannot really use all the teraflops. Unlike the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro, that I can consider there's a big difference in the performance in the PlayStation 4 Pro. But here in the PS5, I cannot realize or see the difference just because of the improvement in teraflops. So that's my own opinion. But if you have your own opinion, kindly leave it in the comments. If you want to say something that if I'm right or I'm wrong, you can leave it in the comments or something. Now, let's talk about Xbox. First of all, they are having a new game on a demo, which is the Sunland. So, first of all, I do not know about this game, but I'm just putting this out for people who may be interested. They are having a demo of the game Sunland. I have not yet seen this yet. I have heard about this from Jay Wood's video saying that the Sunland is okay, it's from the creator of Dragon Ball, Kira. Okay. Rest in peace. So maybe if people want to try this, it's a game from him. So you can see the aesthetic of Dragon Ball when you're seeing this video. The environment still has like Dragon Ball vibes. So again, if you are interested, you can check this out. It's on demo now on Xbox. So that's that first game. It will release on April 25, 2024. So it's next month already. So again, back to Sony. We all remember Connie Booth, right? Saying that she was an executive producer. I'm sorry if I have not yet remembered her actual position. So first of all, we know that Connie Booth was let go from Sony last year as part of the layoffs. So now we know that Connie Booth is no longer part of Sony, but she's going to EA. So she will be overseeing the EA Motive, Cliffhanger, and BioWare studios that are responsible for the titles like Black Panther, Dragon Age, and Mass Effect. So I think this is a big get for EA, since they have established, experienced veteran working from them, and a very prominent name in the gaming industry, which is Connie Booth. So I just hope that their games will improve and the games of EA will be better, so that it will be good for all of us, the gamers. So that's all. Now, after this, we have to be talking about the Game Pass games that will be coming up maybe this end of the month. So first of all, these are the list of games that will be coming. F1 2023 on the cloud. Actually, it's already on console and PC, so it's on the cloud. There's also the Furry, Evil West, Hot Wheels 2, Unleashed 2, Open Worlds. I don't know this game. I cannot read. Ark Survival. Let me see if I can read it. Open Worlds. Terra, Invicta, Diablo 2. MLB The Show is already available now. There's also
Nothing comes between us.
Super Hot, Mind Control Delete. So here, these are the games that will be coming or had already come to Game Pass this coming end of the month. So this list of games is okay. The big one here is Diablo 4 and Ark Survival Ascent. If you already know that NBA 2K24 is already released. It's almost a week, and MLB The Show has been released, and Lightyear has been released yesterday. So this is a good set of games. Many different genres included. The biggest one there is Diablo 4 and Ark Survival Ascent. So after this, let's talk about some articles or news about Xbox that I have seen. This is one. This is the games we are talk about this. Let's talk about Hi-Fi Rush, which I mentioned earlier in the video. It's saying that Hi-Fi Rush is already now one of PlayStation 5's best rated games of PlayStation 2004-24 so far. So that's first of all, that's good for the developer of Hi-Fi Rush, which is I forget the name. I got the name. I hear here. Yeah. Tango Gamers. I'm sorry. So that's good for them since Hi-Fi Rush was able to be introduced to a new set of players. I know I've saw some comments and some videos online that this is another example of Xbox tax. This may be a case or may not be the case because there's a 1 year difference in the release of Hi-Fi Rush. So within that 1 year, we have many updates, many improvements to the game. So when it was released on PlayStation, it became a more complete version, or maybe let's just say a more definitive version of the game. So it may be one of the reasons that's why it was ranked higher on PlayStation than on Xbox. But there's also the case that maybe because it's on PlayStation, then players are giving it a higher score, which we know that people are always always be biased to their box. Like for example, if you're compare an Android user to an iOS user, an Apple to a Samsung user, then you will be biased to your certain platform. We know that is true and all. As consumers, it's okay for us to be biased to a certain thing, but the thing that I do not like is that the gaming journalists are continuing to be biased towards Xbox. They always prompt Sony, praise Sony, but if Sony has any bad news, they will hash about it or keep it to a minimum or report it to the last minute. If it is Xbox, they will be the first one to report it. Even though they have their own bias as a person, that's normal, but it's their job to be objective. That's why it is journalism at its finest, diba? Journalism, whether it is gaming, whether it's mainstream media, or whatsoever, you should be objective in all the things that you need to report. You need the news that you are. That's the problem with our society now, not only in gaming but also in mainstream media. They are biased to a certain party. They are not objective to their work. Then they are trying to trying to voice their ideas of free journalism. So if it's free journalism, it's okay. But why are you trying to be biased and not be objective? News journalism, whether whatsoever journalism it is, games or news or whatsoever, they should be impartial, they should be down the middle, they should be objective in informing the public of all the things. They should not be biased towards one side and have a certain narrative so that people will follow, or people to so that people will be manipulated or will be deceived to be on their side, which is that's not good for society as a whole. You may understand, maybe that's why some people don't like the way the West is doing things. That's why countries like Russia, China, the authoritarian countries are so against the US values and ideals, because they know the journalism itself is already biased and bias itself. So why should the US criticize Russia, China, and other countries for their state-owned companies or their propaganda of making themselves look good, or and leave the bad news there, but the US itself is doing that and is biased towards a certain party. So that's the thing. The double standard is there, which is if you are a normal, if you are an average person, and if you watch the news or do your research, you can see the difference and the hypocrisy that the West, especially the US, is trying to pursue. They try to criticize countries of not being freedom of speech, freedom of the press, but they themselves is trying to manipulate their audience, their public into a certain narrative, into a certain way. I just hope that people will wake up, open their eyes, and realize that this is not right, and we should be doing something about it. So again, I'm sorry for that rant. I know this is a gaming news channel and a video, but we got to into politics. So I will not mention it again. So I just hope that that the rankings here is ratings here is not does not have to do with Xbox tax, and I hope that the people will wake up and say something about this. So again, more news for Xbox, saying that they have a new dev kit reportedly certified in South Korea. Again, if you want to know more about these articles or read about them yourselves, you can read it in purexbox.com. So here they have new dev kits, saying it's not abandoning its hardware division, including there are several projects have been actually greenlit, and in this one we have a new Xbox development kit in South Korea. So if this is true, that means the news and the tweets being saying that the Xbox is abandoning the console business and becoming pure third party like Sega is not true, since there is a new hardware, a new development kit for which was certified in South Korea. I don't know if it is a new Series S, refresh of that, or maybe that's the next gen console. At least this is news, and we are assured that Xbox will not be leaving the console business anytime soon. So here we have news that the former YouTube gaming lead, which is named Leo Oakley, is now the new VP of Global Partnerships. I think this is a move for Xbox to strengthen their partnership globally, to be able to find new studios and games to partner up, like what Sony was able to do with HoYoverse, with Stellar Blade, and many others. I think so. Xbox wants to do that also. They were able to get a hit like Palworld, and with their hiring of their new head of Japanese partnerships and now a new head VP of global partnerships, I think they would like to do more of that. And maybe because of the difficulty of the scrutiny of what they had to face when they were having the Activision acquisition, I think they will slowly slow down of their acquisition spree first and more focus on partnerships. I think that's a good move. And maybe if the fire settles down, the smoke settles down, and spotlight is not on Xbox again, maybe they can have their own acquisition again. Maybe Sega in the future, maybe small acquisition, maybe Pocket Pair, whatsoever. So, which is we will segue to the main topic of the video. I know it became the last topic. I apologize about that. Here it's saying that Palworld developer Pocketpair is open to considering acquisition offers. However, the CEO Takuro Misobe says the studio is not currently engaged with any such talks with Microsoft. So here it is a good thing, and it's saying that Pocketpair is open to acquisition and partnership, whether it is from Sony, Tencent, or whoever man, whether it is a private investor or which is Embracer Group. I think the reason why Microsoft did not engage with Pocketpair with the acquisition talks is because they are still tied with the Activision acquisition because of the FTC. I think after that settles down, I think they will talk to Pocketpair, maybe a partnership or an acquisition, depends on Microsoft. I think this is the best scenario that Microsoft will go to. They will acquire Pocketpair so they will have more Japanese developers on their first party lineup, be able to penetrate the Japanese market more. At least if they go for developers like Pocketpair, not like publishers like Konami, Sega, or Square Enix, at least the scrutiny will be lessened, or maybe there will be no scrutiny since it will just cost how many hundreds of millions. It will not go to more than 500 million. I think, I don't know, but we don't know about the price because they will talk. And with the success of Palworld, I think the price for Pocketpair just went up. So, but if it is also Sony or Tencent or some other private investor, I think it's also good. But I don't think Sony has the capability to have an acquisition now with all the problems that they are facing. The dark horse that I am thinking here is Epic and Tencent. I don't know if Epic and Tencent is just the same company, so I will not mention it. But Tencent is a dark horse here because we know that Tencent is just going under the radar and always investing and getting stocks from companies. So, but I hope that Palworld will continue to be a success, and Pocketpair will. I'm excited and hopeful for their next upcoming game. Personally, I wish for Pocketpair to be acquired by Xbox, Microsoft, so that we will have more diverse lineup, more Japanese developers on our lineup on the first party side. But we'll just see. Again, that's all for the video, and the video is getting longer, and I don't want to keep you waiting. Thank you for tuning until the end. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you, and good day.